You are now listening to the PTL PushCast. The PTL PushCast.
Welcome to the PTL PushCast, brought to you courtesy of PushThatLife.com, recording out of Yip Yap Media in Lusaka. I am JJ, he's Chromes, going to give the people the rundown, homie.
The rundown, Slap D blasting corporates on social media. We'll be talking about that. Donald Trump's inauguration. Should black people be considered sellouts when they perform there? That'll be something we'll be talking about. Last week, we talked about Manchester United and Liverpool playing a game, and we had a little bet that we had going on. It ended 1-1. We didn't discuss the terms of that, so
I think it cancels each other out. Well, we just both have to do like what we said we're gonna do if the other team wins, but not cancel each other out.
That's not gonna happen.
You escaped.
No. Nelly versus Drake. That's a debate that's been had on Twitter. That's also what we're talking about. So let's get into it.
PushCast.
All right, it's getting into it right now. Slap D has been going on some rants on social media, both Twitter and Facebook. Now, basically, he's just trying to highlight the ills in the music industry. So, and that's for the most part goes to the corporates. So now, is it right for him to do that, JJ?
Is it right for Slap D to blast the corporates
on social media?
On social media.
Is that the right outlet for him
on
to
social
do
media? Well, I will say this. Slap D is probably one of the biggest artists we have here in Zambia.
Yeah.
And there's been a long history of artists not getting paid appropriately or being taken advantage of, not only by corporates, but studios, a lot of people. So with Slap D being one of the most successful artists in Zambia, if he has a gripe against corporates, I mean it means like it definitely has some sort of credence to it. I believe he's speaking out for a lot of artists, not only himself but a wider group. And fine, in Zambia we don't have as big a market as let's say South Africa or Nigeria, but there are people. If Slap D as successful as he is, still has issues with corporates not necessarily bringing everything to the table, I think he's got a right to say it on social media, just because of what he has achieved as a Zambian artist. So it'll be different if someone hasn't done anything or won awards and went on social media. People might just be saying, "Man, he's just talking." But this is Slap D, so what he says goes a long way, and him putting it on social media, I didn't actually. It's the right thing to do. I don't know how else to say.
Thing to do.
I don't know how. That's what social media is there for.
I guess we could say, like, with some of his posts that he's put up, you could see that he's had meetings with corporates before. These are things that he's aired in those meetings. To me, for him coming out on social media means, talking to them directly hasn't done anything. So bringing this topic out so people can actually have a discussion means it's just taking it a step further, because social media sometimes can, it can be used for good to mobilize people and to have them talking about a topic. The question is, what's the goal then? What's the end goal? In the end, when you go out on social media and you go on those rants, yes, it is a good thing, but then at the end of the day,
you don't want to alienate the corporate.
Yeah, because you need them at the end of the day.
Yeah, but I think what Slap D's we all need corporates, but corporates also need music artists.
They do. They do in a major way.
In a major way.
Yeah, because the artists have the market. They speak directly to their consumers.
Exactly.
So they need that.
All right, moving on. Donald Trump, the United States president-elect, his inauguration is coming up, and there's a lot of talk about black celebrities, African-American celebrities, performing at the inauguration. The inauguration of the president of the United States is a big thing. It's a big party, and not a lot of artists are feeling it. Some are, some aren't. So should black people be considered sellouts? Should artists, African-American artists, be considered sellouts for performing at President-elect Donald Trump's inauguration?
I think it should not only be about black people. I think whoever considers performing there basically just endorses everything that Donald Trump is about. So for me, it's not only about the black people. I think even the white people that choose to go and do this. You know, it's just you're basically just saying I'm cool with whatever racist stuff that this guy said.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. But to be fair, there are also a lot of obviously not as many supporters as Barack Obama had, but there are people of color that do support Donald Trump's policies, and Donald Trump, as a matter of fact, he puts his supporters in very difficult situations when he says or tweets the things that he does. But some of the things that he says with respect to him, he's the winner of a major election. I think you have to give him the respect he deserves. You may not have to agree with him, but respect must be given, I believe. That's something from Stephen A. Smith from ESPN. He said that. I was watching the show, and he had a valid point. Someone's in power. You have to respect it, but you don't necessarily have to agree with it. So even if it's a black person, African American artist, or an artist of color going to perform at the inauguration, obviously there's going to be a spotlight on them because of Donald Trump's views and the things that he's done. But if you're going to go there for a particular for whatever reason it may be, as a person of color going to perform there, you have to stick with those guns. Don't say like the next day after a Twitter or social media firestorm. Don't come back and start saying like, "Oh man, I didn't know what I was doing. I was just doing it for this." If you're going to go there, do it for the money. Do it for the money. Say it's for the money. If you're going to go there and believe in Donald Trump's views, say you believe in his views, but don't switch it around when you get that backlash, because backlash will happen.
Of course it will. But then the thing is, yeah, respect. We have to give respect, right?
There's a lot of disrespect going on, to be honest.
But then he's disrespectful himself. So how do you respect a disrespectful person?
But he's in a position of power.
I don't agree with that.
He's in a position of power.
But then we also have freedom of speech.
If that was the case, why did he get elected? And then the African Americans who didn't vote, Kanye didn't vote. Mm-hmm. He didn't even have to say that. All he had to say was like, "Who did you vote for?" It's my choice. I don't have to say, "I didn't vote. Nothing's gonna change."
Yeah.
So there are a lot of prominent African Americans and people of color who didn't vote and proudly stayed. Even Colin Kaepernick.
Yeah, he didn't vote.
He didn't vote after all that stuff. He didn't vote. So he's been elected. If you didn't want him elected, you should have done something about it. I'm not saying there are people that didn't do anything about it, but I believe more could have been done from what we're seeing here in Africa. Obviously not getting the whole picture.
Yeah.
But from the reactions of this election, it seems that more could have been done about this election of getting someone other than Donald Trump elected.
Yeah, they could have done something about that. Another topic we have here, Manchester United and Liverpool. The game ended 1-1, 1-1.
The Manchester part of that sentence, sis.
And yeah, you wrote this. So you say Man U scored of a controversial non-offside.
He scored off a controversial non-offside. Valencia was offside when he crossed that ball.
According to JJ.
According to everyone, dude. Anyway,
according to Liverpool guys. Did the game live up to the billing, JJ?
Absolutely not. It was a rubbish game. It was worse than the previous game we played at Anfield. The first game we played, man, Liverpool versus Man. That game was so bad. Like, there were no shots on goal. If they were, I didn't see them. I was watching it on my computer screen the whole time. And this game, wow. There was no fire. I think both teams were too careful. And when it comes to Manchester United and Liverpool, there has to be at least a red card in there somewhere. There wasn't even a red card. It's like the most tumultuous tie in next to Liverpool and Everton and the whole English Premier League. There's going to be crazy things going down. I didn't see any of that. I think both teams were too careful, scared of the other team, maybe because Liverpool was playing away, and obviously because Manchester, scared of Liverpool, so they parked the bus a bit. You know what I mean? Even though in the second half they played a lot better, but it was a rubbish game. I'm sorry, as a Liverpool fan, it was a rubbish game, horrible.
Yeah.
And it was an offside.
So was the wow. So basically, to you, the result wasn't justified then, because you're saying it was an offside.
It wasn't offside, but it was. I think it was still a fair result.
It was a tough game.
It wasn't tough. It was rubbish. It was a fair result for the nonsense that I was watching. I couldn't believe it. I could have been doing something else, and I haven't missed a Liverpool game this season.
I think, like, if you
And
remember,
that's probably one of the worst games we've played. I can even say that right now.
Mm.
One of the worst games we played versus a rival. I was very disappointed. Expected more.
In the previous podcast, we talked about how
PushCast.
The PushCast. We talked about how this was a game that was going to define what was going to happen next.
It didn't define anything, man.
I mean, the result, like the way the game was played, does that show any indication?
There's no state. It was supposed to be a statement game. No statements were made. Nothing. It changed nothing other than the fact that Tottenham are now second and Liverpool is third.
Yeah,
it changed nothing.
Is that what really pisses you off?
It's too
the switching.
We're tied on points.
Yeah, well,
so I'm not worried about that. Mm-hmm. But like, I wanted to. If I would have liked to even. I would have preferred losing, but battling hard. You know, where you have some pride. I had no pride.
Yeah.
If there was pride there, I didn't see it. It was horrible. It was too tactical. Get in there, get stuck in, as they say in the UK.
But that's like a very tough game, so you could understand why there was such. But even though there's more flair when the games happen,
there's no flair in the Liverpool-Manchester game. What are you talking about? It's brick on brick.
Yeah, but there's still some flair. But there was lesser flair than I guess with this game.
Yeah, Howard Webb lives on. They say he retired, but obviously,
oh my word,
can't catch a break.
You guys will never let go of that guy.
You'll never let go of him.
You guys
That's
won't.
your dude, man. 12th man. Okay, there was a Nelly versus Drake debate on Twitter, and as expected, most of the older heads picked Nelly over Drake. Chromes, who has had the better career so far, Drake or Nelly?
That's a very tricky question, you know, because Nelly had his highs and Drake has had his highs. Like Nelly's Country Grammar is a diamond certified album.
10 million copies.
Drake doesn't have a diamond.
I think the Country Grammar song sold 10 million.
No, the album.
The album too.
Yeah.
Whoa.
The album was that big. But then Drake, on the other hand, he completed the Summer 16 tour, and off that, he has the highest grossing hip hop tour of all time. He beat Jay-Z and Kanye West Watch the Throne tour. So I would say it's I'm a little on the fence, man. Like Nelly had his time and Drake is having his moment now. I think we should have this debate maybe like 2 years from now to see what Drake is going to achieve.
Fair enough.
You know, I think, in my opinion, I think we need a little more time to see what Drake is going to do next, because Drake has kind of fallen off when it comes to material. You know, like the Views album was very, a lot of critics say it was basic, and I listened to it, and it wasn't anything new. He didn't push the envelope or anything like that. So, but then he sold all those records. He went number one in the first week. Yeah, 1 billion streams for that one dance record. So
the anticipation, he set himself up to win.
Yeah, I mean, if we were having this conversation before Drake had a number one single off One Dance, then I would say Nelly had the better career, because Nelly had a number one record.
I think when it comes to careers, Nelly, he was coming up at that time when the internet was just getting going, when it came to influencing music and vice versa. It was just getting going. Drake is right smack dab in the middle of this whole internet culture. So I would, like with the streaming, for example. So a lot of his numbers and a lot of his popularity, he has to thank for the internet and how quick he can get music across the world. Not as fast as Nelly could. But Nelly had tours and Nelly had hits. Yeah. Back then when people had to go and buy CDs, bruh. People had to go buy physical copies. People went and bought physical copies. And that was still at the time when guys were still trying to get leaks. He still sold a lot of records. I think if they came up at the same time, the impact of the hits that Nelly had, I think would have surpassed Drake's.
But that's
what I think.
But then that's hypothetical.
It is
because like if
that's what I'm saying. Like like you said, it's not obviously a question that we can.
Yeah,
we have to wait 2 years and then we'll see about it.
Let's wait for.
And Drake and Nelly is the 4th all-time best-selling rapper in America.
Of singles and albums,
everything. I've got the numbers right here. I think he sold about 21 million albums in America alone.
I think Drake is getting there.
In America. But you see, now you've got that streaming, and that's from everywhere. That's why I said, like, if it happened that Nelly had that push that the internet's giving Drake.
But then think of it, like at that time, people used to buy albums. These days, people don't buy albums.
Yeah,
so the
if
climate has sort of
if you
changed.
wanted to listen to Nelly, how are you gonna get it? You're gonna have to get someone from wherever, South Africa, or whatever, or ask Sounds to order that stuff, and you get it in like 2 months later. When something new, like that's the way it is. Like now, it's a lot quicker. It's a lot quicker.
Yeah. The climate is different now.
But
I
think Nelly would have had a bigger impact. Anyway, this is the PDL PushCast. When we come back, we've got the big talking point, and we're going to be talking about how social media is influencing music and vice versa.
The PTL PushCast.
All right, we back, PTL PushCast, and we're getting into the big talking point, where we go a little deeper on the topic making waves. Trent Reznor from 9 Inch Nails, that's a rock group, a very successful rock group, had an interview with Yahoo and had this to say about artists and social media. Quote unquote, I don't see any princes, the artist Prince, emerging on the scene today. I see a lot of people making formulaic, made to please vegan restaurant Patron type bleep. And I think it creates an environment where people are too worried about what other people have to say, and people who have never made anything think it's okay to talk bleep about. If you have a Facebook account, no one gives a bleep. You haven't achieved anything. Does Trent Reznor have a point, or does he not get how the music game is these days? Crows.
He definitely has a point. I think these days, well, according to him, like people are just making music that's going to please people on social media. And that's and that comes off of the fact that it's so easy for you to talk to your fans these days. So you sort of know what they like. Like what the internet has done is it's given people the ability to see stats on like how well this song is doing. So in that way, you start making music in that line, which is why you see people like Young Thug doing a certain type of style, or like Lil Yachty. If nobody liked what Lil Yachty was doing, he wouldn't be around.
True.
So I totally understand what he's saying, but then again, the climate has changed. Like it's like when we were talking about the Nelly and Drake thing. Like music, how people are making music is different now, and these days, even the topics that people pick. When you talk about hip hop, way back it was because people were going through a struggle, but now black people are making money. So
not all of them.
Yeah, but then when you make money and you're exposed,
I think it looks that way.
When you get exposed,
social media.
Yeah, when you get exposed.
Because how many people you see on social media are actually making as much money as they're showing?
Nah.
Is that their car?
No.
Is that their girlfriend?
No.
There you go.
Yeah.
So it looks that way, but I still think the struggle is still real, people.
The struggle is real. But what I'm trying to say is, it's like, yeah, there's this lifestyle that people want to show off on social media, and frankly, artists these days, when you get a little exposed, you find yourself in certain situations that you wouldn't find yourself in if you were just an ordinary person. So then, you start hanging out with certain celebrities. So now your content sort of changes. And then now you're just flexing for Instagram. So that should go with your music.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you think it's, well, the thing about it, hip hop, music, there's pop. You got hip hop. Hip hop was considered a gritty, grimy. You've got rock and roll. Then you've got subsections of that, like alternative rock, which is kind of closer to pop.
Yeah.
The heavy metal. But with hip hop, there are not a lot of people that are being creative. I'm just piggybacking what off he's saying.
Yeah.
He's a rocker.
Yeah.
So he knows, like, okay, from rock and roll, this is what he's from what I see based on what he's saying in the hip hop culture. There is a lot of music that is not very experimental and very safe. And how I can tell that is because every song sounds the same. Well, at
Exactly.
least 99% of the songs sound the same.
When there's a wave, everybody wants to go with that.
Precisely.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to know is like who is starting these waves, and even the people that start the waves don't even get to finish it.
Yeah.
Someone's gonna like that's why I like R. Kelly.
Mm-hmm.
He's like a very good example of someone who keeps on changing. R. Kelly, Diddy, Christina Aguilera, those albums, every album she puts out is different from the last one in sound and feel.
Yeah.
And those are the people that are making their own lanes, and in a sense they get to stay relevant a lot longer because people are always anticipating something new, even in this day and age where we have the internet culture. But what happens now, there's a certain sound that you're popular for, and you're scared to go outside of your lane because you're scared of losing the fans that have become accustomed to hearing you do things this way or make music this way. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and that's why he's saying there are no, like, artists like Prince are not there anymore. I mean, the only one I can think of right now off the top of my head is Kanye West.
Yeah. And I think another point to consider is the fact that maybe this is happening because artists are not making as much money as they used to. So they will do as much because now they make more money. They make money off shows,
And that's from the fans' perspective.
Exactly.
Which brings in social media.
yeah. So you want to make music that's going to make everyone go crazy, so that when you go and perform on stage, it's like, oh, we know that song, and then everybody starts turning up to that. So I think that's social media has really messed up music.
But you know one thing that I've kind of noticed when it comes to mixtapes, the way it used to be a few years ago, not too long way back, about maybe 5 years ago, when you'd have an artist that was signed before an artist got signed to a major label, like whether it's Kendrick or J. Cole, they put out these mixtapes and they're very honest, very, very bare, very raw. They get signed to a major label and the sound starts to change. Because they're trying to get them to that mainstream, which is all about numbers, which is all well and good. Even Lil Wayne, when he was doing his, like, selling all those albums, Carter 1, Carter 2, Carter 3, like, the numbers just kept on increasing. But before each album came out, he'd feature on everything. He'd put out mixtapes, and mixtapes were like, he's like, hey, man, over here, we're not trying to sell records, but we're building up hype. And people are gonna like we talked about Drake, just creating that anticipation for the next project. And if that next project comes in, it doesn't sound like as good as the mixtape, you can just say, mainstream. Same thing with Wale. I think it was Back to the Future, right? That mixtape.
Yeah, that was Back to the Future.
And then the album that came out after that,
Attention Deficit.
exactly.
Yeah.
It was so different because I remember I was listening to it with the homie. Back to the Future. I was like, whoa, this is crazy. I'm gonna like that album. I'm gonna copy it. Album came and we're like, it's a bit like watered down right now. So, but my point is, like, at least guys are going mainstream, are giving something up, but you know they've got talent. You know Lil Wayne can rap.
Of course.
You know Lil Wayne can spit. You know J. Cole can spit. So even he puts up that workout track, you know he's got something with him. But I don't know whether, with respect, the Yatis and the 21 and 22 and 23 Savages, if they put out a mixtape, whether that stuff will sound any different.
No, like their mixtapes are basically
the albums.
Yes. and that's what it's becoming now. People are making, like, after especially after what's his name, Chance the Rapper dropped that. It was like an album, but it was just like a digital thing, and he put it out like it was a mixtape. It was like pretty much free in a way. And now what that's going to do, it's actually got him 7 Grammy nominations. So now what's going to happen is people won't even care. They'll just be putting out all this stuff.
But Chance the Rapper, he's good
dope.
He's dope.
Really dope. But what I'm saying is, this opens up doors for other guys in a good way and a bad way.
Yeah, very much. Very much so. Anyway, that was the big talking point, and this is the PushCast with Chromes and JJ. When we come back, we got swagged or pwagged.
PushCast.
Man, I love the soundtrack to this show, man. Big shout out to the Passion Hi-Fi for providing the beats. Welcome back to the PTL PushCast. It is time for swagged or pwagged, where we give props to someone doing it big, swagged, or someone doing it wrong, Chromes, who you have swagging, bro?
Shout out to Ed Sheeran. He dropped 2 great singles. One called Castle on the Hill, and the other is called Shape of You. Now, Shape of You is his first #1 single in the U.S. Now, what makes this moment really special for him is that his other song, Castle on the Hill, also debuted in the top 10. And this is the first time that an artist has ever done that in the history of music. On the
history
charts.
of forever.
Yes.
Ed
Having
Sheeran.
2 singles debut in the top 10. And then again, he broke first day streaming numbers on Spotify.
Yeah, blame it on the internet. There you go.
First week numbers as well. He broke that too. He got like 88 million for the 2 singles, like streams in the first week. That's crazy.
Respect, man. That's
Shout out
that's
to
Ed
Ed,
Sheeran, man.
Yeah.
He makes good music.
Yeah.
Who I've got swagging is the homie Tiye. Zambian rapper Tiye's got a release party for his upcoming album called Red at Shaztemba.
Shaztemba.
Shaztemba. That's Shaztemba. It's French, man. Shaz.
People here call it Jean Timba.
Okay, Jean Temba for my local cats in Lusaka on Friday, February the 3rd, and I've actually had to listen to this album. It's amazing, and I don't say that about a lot of local music. Don't call me a hater. I just call it how I see it. The way I see this album, it's real crazy. I'm digging it. The track "Party Harder" featuring Slap D and J Rocks, certified fire, and there's this song he's got with Bombshell.
Yeah, you guys been talking about that. I want to listen to that. Song.
That track is ill, man. Yo, go check out Bombshell on Twitter. That girl, she spits hot fire.
Does Bombshell does she do the
That's Bombshell, man.
What's
Bombshell without the What's Bombshell
Shout
without the
out to Bombshell, man.
So sexy. Yes. That album is gonna blow people out the water, bro. He's swagging. Shout out to TAP. Who you have swagging?
I got Kodak Black.
Oh,
Wagging hard. Trying to fight Lil Wayne? Come on, bro. That's a legend, bro. Like,
tell him the reason why.
The reason?
Why he wants to fight Lil Wayne.
Because he wants to be considered the best rapper alive.
That is so juvenile.
Yeah. Like, have you heard Kodak Black rap?
I've heard him say something. I don't know whether you could call it rap. I've heard him say something over like a beat. I don't know whether you could call it rap. He's putting words together. Sounds kind of catchy.
Rap thing is, when you listen to one of these new school cats, they sound like the next cat. So if you heard Lil Yachty, you probably heard Kodak Black too. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Trying to fight someone for the name. Just rap him.
Yeah.
There you go.
How do you fight somebody? If you want to, maybe you should say like, let's fight so I could be the best fighter in the world in the world of music. But that has nothing to do with lyrics.
Maybe he's just fake. Maybe he's just faking it, man. Maybe he's just doing it to get reactions. Maybe
he's smarter.
Maybe he's smarter than we think.
Oh no, bro. Hell,
maybe not. Anyway, Quagging. I have a certain clickbait happy website here in Zambia. That straight up make up lies, including one about Chief from Hot FM about being locked up for gender-based violence.
GBV.
Yeah, they're at it again. They managed to get snippets of Chromes' raw conversations with TAP, and once again failed to refer where they got the story from. Straight pwagging hard.
Wagging.
You don't know what pwagging is the opposite of swag, like the absolute opposite at the other end of the spectrum. That is what this site is doing. It's disgusting. Stop it.
Yeah.
If you're gonna steal something, at least say where you stole it from. Man, I'm so upset right now, man.
These guys got me pissed off, man. Like, and people notice. Like, if you think
they know
people
it
don't
too,
know,
man.
They know what's going on.
Sis, man. Sis on you, and you know who you are. I could just forget the S and add a P. Anyway, carry on. There's no sunshine. There's no sunshine in the shade, Crows.
Oh well, we're almost out of here, but first we have to go through the home stretch. Woo! So who you shouting out, man?
All right, I have to give a big shout out to my friend Landon Bola from Kenya. He's got some new work on the way. I can't talk about it too much, but he gave me a listen, and it's going to be we're going to be featuring on Push That Life as soon as he gives us the get go. Shout out to the homie, man. I actually went to high school with this dude, man. Real talented.
That's what's up. Well, I have to bring back TAP into this conversation because I had him on Raw Conversations, and he actually says that this album is like really, really, like he put in a lot of creative stuff into it.
You haven't heard it though. Where were you when I was listening to this
heard it
stuff,
because like you're like
Manchester guys too slow.
oh man, you guys
Anyway, carry on.
made sure I wasn't around. That's when you started doing that.
Yo,
but then,
man, you need to be on top of your game when we're doing this here, man.
of course. So he says that his album has an upside down theme.
Yeah.
You only find out when it's out, but
Yeah.
we know it.
Well, I know you because you haven't heard it. I heard the whole thing. It's actually really dope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out to TFP, man. Who you
well-
guys shout out? Oh, you heard.
Yeah,
shout out
I've got my shout out to the homie Landon Baller from Kenya.
Yeah.
Well, what's good for the weekend?
The weekend, trying to see if I can get interested into this AFCON business, man. Like nobody's really talking about it, but I want to watch a
Zambia's
couple
not
games.
playing. Nah.
I want to watch a couple of games and see why people are not talking about it that much. So that's my weekend.
Trying to get into. I'm only going to start
Yeah.
watching it when the finals start.
When the knockout
Yeah, I'm
stage
trying to see
starts.
who we can buy for Liverpool, who performs.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm going to be watching the Liverpool game, of course. And on Sunday night, Green Bay versus Atlanta, NFL. That's at 10:05 p.m. local time. And also Pittsburgh versus New England right after that at 1:40 a.m. Monday morning. Big sporting weekend. And maybe I'm going to get my Jameson 12-year on. You see the way I said that? 12-year. Just so my people can understand me.
Oh my word. Oh my word.
Yeah, shout out to that website. Anyway, that's been the
man.
PushCast. Shout out to Yip Yap Media. We out.
We out of here.
PushThatLife.com. PushThatLife.com.